Welcome, everyone. So, thank you for putting up with me today. I am haggard, but I'm back from AWE and we're going to go over some awesome critiques. And let's get to it. So, let me share my screen real quick. So, if you guys weren't here last week, had a lot of fun. The way that this is going to work is that I'm going to play the content first, and then I will invite the person on the stage. We'll do a quick critique because there's so many of them today. I'll try to make it as fast as possible. I haven't gone through any of these, so it's going to be me kind of doing this on the fly. Vishnu's here. Cool. Awesome. Let's play this. Let me open this up real quick. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Can you guys hear it? Oh, interesting. That's awesome. Great. I think this is the first AVP prototype we've seen. Yeah, this is a really, really cool concept you did. Will you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, basically, as a kind of my background is kind of more in design and 3D and things, and I'm exploring both like design and prototyping at the moment. But I'm also a new mom, and in the past year, I've kind of uh, ended up having to like move my space and rearrange my space a lot for my young child. And the idea of like spending a lot of time and effort on like rearranging your space or trying to visualize it has been top of mind. And so, with this kind of theme specifically on diegetic, I really kind of wanted to lean into like how you can think about like instructing users or even like the tools that you end up using rather than like because all of this could be on a 2D panel with buttons that you trigger painting and putting things on the wall. But I really like the idea of like amplifying your space with like the realistic aspects of like verbs like painting, hammering, stamping. And so I wanted to lean into some of those aspects and just really enjoyed the aspects of like how do you actually translate these real life elements more into this mixed reality space. And wanted to use the AVP primarily for the aspect of being able to have like be able to see your space kind of more realistically, and it does enable you to kind of show off some of these 3D like virtual objects as well as UI, like very high quality and realistic, and that only enables you to kind of visualize your space really well.
Well, this is really cool. So you did all of this in, I mean, like,
In Unity, using polyspatial, which enables you to kind of build for mixed reality apps for Vision Pro.
oh wow, that's great. So yeah, first of all, awesome, awesome job. So like the
Thank
one
you.
thing I really liked about this was that these notes and well, first of all, I would imagine with AVP, you're designing for your central position, which makes everything easier. And
Yeah.
yeah, which is really cool. And I think these sticky notes are actually really, really well done. Like aesthetically, like you have them slightly askewed in different ways, which actually kind of adds to the feel of something feeling more holistic,
Mhm.
which I really enjoyed. I think, you also use a lot of, like, audio signifiers a lot to get things in here, which is really cool. Um,
Mhm.
so, like, I think, like, here specifically, like, there's I think a lot of the stuff that you are doing is, like, you're taking advantage of the AVP input systems were very, very limited. So, like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
really yeah, it's which is tough. I think that, like I mean, there's not much I would basically like, I think that your signifiers are perfect. Um, the audio, what I would say, like, I think, like, the audio signifiers are really cool. I think that, like,
Mhm,
maybe what you can do is maybe tweak every maybe you can assign a new, um, audio sound to each different one, right? So,
mhm.
like, there's, like, a little bit of audio design stuff, but, like, the thing
Yeah.
that's nice is that you have the paintbrush, which is a natural affordance. You have the paint, which is and you have a paint and you have a bucket, which is a natural affordance. And it's so sweet. And like even like the signifiers of each one of them is like pretty darn good. I mean, these are really, really close in color and contrast, but
Yeah.
it doesn't really I mean, you can always tweak it. But at the end of the day, like I think this is great. Another thing that I like you also used like, you know, like, going over to the wall, like this little grid is definitely interesting. Can you tell me a little bit about why you decided to do like a dot grid and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think initially I imagine being able to kind of maybe do a few paint strokes and then using some sort of animation to kind of cover the whole wall, like using like just having like a sprite that covers the whole wall mesh. But I was finding a lot of issues where if it was transparent, then it didn't really feel like a wall paint, or if it didn't really feel like it was actually on the wall. And then there was other issues where if it was fully opaque, it was just um, kind of colliding or occluding other furniture, and it just didn't feel have that same feeling as like you're trying out different paint on the wall. So the idea was to kind of just get users to try to paint in the middle of their wall for a more kind of realistic feel. And so the grid was to kind of give them some guidelines around like where the central aspect of the wall is and just a place for them to start adding to.
And what's interesting is that you use this speckling pattern, which I didn't think about till right now. Is like it's really smart because like if you just did a straight stroke to a certain extent, it would not look
Mm-hmm.
as like interesting, so to speak, because it just looked like a straight color on the wall. So like that's great. Like I think that I think for the most part, I think the only thing that I would probably tweak about the sticker itself is just like, how do you store a sticker, right? Because like
Yeah.
without getting in the way, but like you utilize a lot of AVP's natural signifiers for wall and stuff like that, and so like this is
Mhm.
really really good work. I'm excited to see where you go with it. I would like to talk more about it, but this is great. So like when it comes down to scaling, real quick. Um, like, how is it like, does it just automatically scale, or you just basically are just gonna have it just be automatically fill up a specific location?
Yeah, I think in order to kind of reduce the scope right now, it's basically like preset to a certain scale and maybe depends on the different type of artwork. But ideally, for like a more completed app, you would provide the user input to be able to like scale and reposition and readjust. So like if they change their mind, they can kind of remove this, peel it off, or put another decal on their wall. And
Well,
maybe
that's
there's like an option to
awesome.
do multiple colors and things. So I still have
Yeah.
to finish the third option, which is like hammering your artwork on the wall, which will be interesting as well to build out as an affordance.
Well, you did a really good job. Congrats. Like, this is, like, a really good piece. You should be proud of this.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what the heck, like, these other things were. Are these, like, the nailing things into the wall? I know I'm taking a while, guys, I'm sorry. Like, these things right here hammered.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah. So the hammer model, and then ideally, I was thinking maybe like the artwork can be like maybe either you use a nail or maybe you have like a smaller version of the artwork that you kind of scale up as you like hammer the art into place.
Well, I can see a lot of potential in this being incredibly useful, especially if you take a snapshot of it and then,
Exactly.
not the scope out of control. I'm not saying you should do this right now, but it's like you can actually get proper measurements and everything. So then when you actually do decorate the wall, like you can have your nursery already pre-designed. That's awesome.
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
Well, congrats. That was great.
Thank you so much.
I don't hear any audio, so Awesome. Hey, Kate, thanks for joining us. Will you tell us a little bit about this project?
Yeah, so I decided like to take like one of my childhood games as like inspiration, and I remember like me as a kid playing Cut of the Rope on my dad's iPad like when I was little, and I was thinking how like it will be like so cool to be transferred in the virtual reality. I would say like actually mixed reality, and also bring more diegetic implementation to it. So was like my approach to that project.
Awesome. Yeah, this is great. This is a menu system. This is great. And how did you what did you build this in?
So actually, the concept idea, so the video which you currently showing, it's built in ShapeXR, but I also did the um, prototype in Bezi.
Okay,
Um, like I have
cool.
some of the mechanics that I built in Bezi, and I want
Perfect.
to implement some of the concept ideas like to the Bezi one.
Awesome. Well, this is really cool. I think that okay, Kate included another one, and I want to make sure that can you guys it's 14 seconds, so I think we can spin it. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that this general flow is actually pretty darn awesome. So the thing that's like definitely interesting about this is that you're playing cut the rope in general, and from what I'm understanding, like this is essentially a like by doing this you are like changing what hand you want to use. You're changing like the audio, which is interesting. I think like it's a really cool concept. Part of me where I'm like, okay, like what can we sign? Because like I think that like you definitely use the hand signifier here to basically show that like you can do something, which is cool. But like I would like to see like understand a little bit more about like maybe work on that signifier a little bit right here. Um, I love how like the concept of like being able to like pull this thing and everything has this inherent theme, and right now you're kind of designating left and right hands. Like this is all this stuff is really really interesting. So um making my way through it here, like I would like to understand how all these toggles work and stuff like that. I'm assuming that if I tap audio, something would happen here. If I tap music, something here like and maybe some slight different signifiers of audio versus music would actually be really cool as well. um yeah, this is awesome. So this is how you're changing your audio, like your language. Oh, I didn't get that. I thought you were just decorating this dude. Oh, she's gone? Uh-oh. It's okay. We got to keep going, but I think that this is like a really cool concept. I want to figure out like how you can represent different language here. I mean, I know you can hit this bottom right here, but this does not feel inherently um connected to this at the moment down here as well. So maybe you can like kind of like strengthen this as well. And also like once if you like when you go over them, I'm assuming by you changing these props, you're changing the language. Yes, you are. Okay, yeah, like I would like to understand like being able to hover over and get some kind of signal or signifier. I think that basically like I would like to see this connected a little bit. I would also like to understand exactly what hat does what. There's a little bit of discovery. If I change my language, it would be really hard to if all of this stuff changed in real time. It would be kind of confusing. And I also really want to play with the hats. I like because I thought this was like purely decorating. I didn't associate this language with this, and that's the kind of a toughie. But like I think that the natural play of this is definitely really really cool, and being able to cut back up is really awesome. Awesome work. You still get the points.
Hi. Gonna-
Hey there! Welcome to the Cauldron, you ambitious little witch. I'm your guide, your deepest fear, and your eternal reminder of what happens if you mess up Skullhead Argus. Yeah, that's right, I'm dead ugly. And here to haunt your dreams of immortality. Let's get this creepy show on the road, shall we? All right, rookie, first things first, we need ingredients. No, not those boring veggies. See that bathtub over there? Yeah, the one that looks like it's straight out of a horror flick. Just turn on the faucet and watch as it fills up with fresh. You see, human bodies, they're your raw materials. Yeah, I know it's grim, but hey, immortality doesn't come cheap. It's like a macabre magic trick. But don't get too greedy, more bodies mean more risk. Keep an eye on that fortune crystal ball. If it starts glowing like a Christmas tree, you've got trouble brewing. Now, every restaurant needs customers, right? Here. They don't just walk in through the door. Nope, they pop in through the mirror. 1 minute you're alone, the next bam, a monster's got a craving. They'll place their order, and it's up to you to whip up something scrumptiously sinister. Got an order? Great! Grab your witchbukia, the one with all the creepy symbols and questionable stains. Find the recipe for the dish, and let's get to work. You'll need those body parts from the tub, so scoop them out carefully. Remember, too many parts, too much risk. Don't want to end up like me stuck with a bony head. This is the cooking area. Put the ingredients in the pot and wait for it to cook.
It's all good.
When the food is finished, take it to the drive-through window in the middle of the table. Congrats, you're not a complete fuck-up.
The Cauldron, awesome work. Emily, can you tell us briefly about all of this, like about your project here?
Yes, of course. So we're a team of four. We have two developers and two designers. Yeah, it's relatively new. We're just using the meta person's hack. Yeah, and you can see this is a somewhat of a food sim. Yeah, so you play as this witch, who was once a respectable witch, but who went down the wrong path, and now she's involved in this like black market or obtaining evil spells through the channel and beginning to hunt humans to prolong her own life. And to conceal her crimes, she opened up the restaurant. So you can see that all the ingredients here are all the humans that she murdered in a way. But yeah, the narratives is we're playing a lot with this like sense of dark humor but whimsical play. um yeah, and then in this fantasy world, the monsters and humans coexist, but she's trading with these monsters. So the customers are all supernatural creatures or monsters. Basically humans are the most delicate and delicious meat in this world, but the humans does not know. But yeah, so and they're when they're serving the customer, they're doing some type of trade so she can gain more power. um and So we were just working on this as a team. A lot of the assets here are still like placement holders, like the skull head, or the customer. We just use all these assets online, but you can see that visually they're not like very fitting together. But this is an older demo that we're still working on. This is like the onboarding tutorial eventually.
Mm.
Yeah, so we have just some of the questions about like how do you feel about the skull narrator in the sense, and how do you feel about like like spells or using in the sense that it's like designed as a visual indication of the witch's power. Eventually you see more of that like once they're going to be like a spell on top of the pot, then you can place your hand on it and it will start cooking. So it's about this like magical experience of the witch, being a witch, but it's not really like a comeback or anything, but it's just used as a visual indication. But yeah, how does this feel like in general? Just really curious about your thought. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome explanation. I think so. It kind of reminds me. What's that? There's like what's that cooking game that uh, doesn't matter. Yeah, like I think like first of all, I would say the skull navigate like the skull as a character, but also someone onboarding you is really really smart and cool. I would there's like part of me where I really wish that I had um some subtitles or something like that so I could like for someone who doesn't have the ability to hear or to see that stuff and how that plays with it. I think like
Mhm,
like what you did is really tough in this program. You're kind of doing a flow of an entire kind of experience game, which is really
mhm,
cool. You know, a lot of these things are placeholders, completely understand. I think that, but like the general flow of the game and stuff like that, think is really, really cool. I would love to play it. There's a couple things here that like one of the things that I would maybe say work on is first is like the ergonomics of everything, right? Where it's like having to bend over and grab things from here can be really, really tough in XR. And the same
mhm,
thing with like this cauldron down to the right. It's a lot
mhm.
of like bending over, standing up, bending over, standing up. And like I was wondering, like, is there a reason like why you did that versus like would you like like because like I'm gonna be I would imagine you're going between here, here, and here all the time, like bounce, 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 and juggling, right? Um,
Mm.
is there a reason why you decided to go with like this position?
We so at the very beginning you can kind of shuffle around the position a little bit to adjust just the scale of the user as well. So it kind of eases in. The scale form over here is a little bit like in proportion. We were we try to place everything. We had a lot of problem with like 3D placements, especially
Mm.
with this one, but mostly we want the player not to like move around as much. So yeah, I I'm not sure actually, because we thought like this is like before everything was kind of just part of the table. But then we figured that it was a little bit distracting or a little bit too much that everything is on one table. So right now it's just like a little bit all around the place. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, maybe having like a handle that I can bring up this um, bathtub to my waist and stuff like that would be kind of sweet.
Mm,
Like just a way for me to like change these things. Another thing is like this timer. The problem with like text is notoriously difficult. But the question I have here is that like you have a lot of text that is kind of below your central vision. Like, have you guys thought about like making these look at the camera at all times? So basically, if you look down, it will like turn towards you so you understand, so you can clearly see the text at all
yes.
times.
Yes, yes, that's definitely like one of the things that we will put it in, as long as also the subtitles that you were talking about. Yeah.
Oh, great! Yeah, awesome. Yeah, like all in all, this is sweet. I mean, you know, it's a lot of it is as I know, it's placeholders. It's kind of like you have to gray box everything, but I understand the flow, which is I think is really cool. the skull kind of coming around and like helping you through everything is awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think that like the largest things I would say, like I would like to see tweaked a little bit would just be like the ergonomic factor of everything. And then once the new assets come in, and like, because like right now it's like, is this supposed to give you a specific set of ingredients, kind of like overcooked, where it's like, a some guts, a heart, and then you put those in? Is there like a specific recipe?
So the recipe is gonna be shown on the actually on the table where the books where there's like visual effects of the books. That's kind of how the water comes in. And then in the earlier on in the video where there's like a blank piece of paper, that was kind of supposed to be the recipe.
Mm.
Yeah, and then the food eventually basically everything will look like delicious, like just like any other regular food rather than the ingredients when it spawns. Yeah, but
Oh,
definitely
okay.
ergonomics. Um, we
Ergonomics is the big thing. It's hard.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, awesome work. I love the concept. I love the Rick and Morty voice. I love the skull as your key narrator to help you through these things, to give you like awesome, to help you through everything. Awesome work.
Thank you.
Oh,
So basically, there's like um, it's like we're trying to gamify dishwashing, and it's just like a really simple concept. And we're gonna like implement more of the onboarding stuff. We have like the mockups in Figma, but we haven't implemented in the prototype.
sure. This is awesome. You did this. Yeah, I love the idea of gamifying dishwashing, especially if you have kids. You can just shove this on their head and they'll be like, "Whoa." Um, Yeah, I mean, I think that for the most part here, I mean, it's a very simple idea, but very, very like it's very, very clever. You definitely did have your content that is looking at the camera at all times, which is like really, really cool. Um, it is very like I think that the thing here, what I would maybe figure out here is like how do you reduce the amount of running type, because like running type, I guess in XR is a little bit difficult, but like but everything is basically centralized position around the sink, which is cool. So like the dish count is right here, goes up every time. So like if you were going to produce this for like for production, how would you designate how many dishes were in the how would you know how many dishes were in the dishwasher?
So it's basically just tracks like when your hand enters that area,
Okay,
basically, and that's when the dish count goes up. Um, like for the visuals, this is just like a really like preliminary prototype, but we're going to essentially make like the text like not kind of just floating in space like that. But we'll
sure,
like have it like on signs or something, and then we're gonna have like basically when they finish like a designated amount of dishes, then they unlock like a gift, and that's when after you unlock the gift, that's when you get like a new skin or something essentially. So that's why the monster turned like pink.
sure. That's awesome. And then like all of these little signifiers of these gifts right here. What are these things?
So it's basically a progress bar. So every time you put in like a new dish, there's like um tiny dish appears. I know right now it looks it's kind of like hard to imagine, but it's basically like a progress bar that's gonna go up, and the image of progress is represented by like tiny dishes.
Oh, awesome. So yeah, I think Julian had a really good suggestion. Maybe you can have the monster close and open the mouth as it ate a dish, which emphasize the dish update. Yeah, I think adding extra signifiers there when something's been complete makes it a lot more fun. But yeah, like this is like I'm excited to see what you how you handle typography, how you reinforce all of those individual dishes, like reinforce those things like with signifiers and completeness. But this is awesome. I'm excited to see when this is all done.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Mimi. Great idea. Awesome.
So
How you doing?
yeah.
How you doing, Missioner? Huh?
So yeah. So my idea is to replace make a diegetic version of the taskbar. So initially my idea was to make a spatial music player, but I came to know that it's really hard to use a background app in a Quest or any HMD device. So I was looking through and I came to know like there is like we in mobile we have a notification panel that is always accessible, and in in laptops and PC we have a taskbar, but in Quest or in HMD spatially it is not available always. So I thought of making a watch kind of environment where all everything is accessible, and also a dynamic menu where uh, whatever the application you play, that you can access the menu with the like passing a game or some inventory management, everything is kind of inbuilt there. So something like
Awesome.
that.
Well, well. First of all, like this is really cool. I'm excited to see this as we go. I mean, like so, like one thing I know about just doing handy wise, it can be very, very tough. So like this is like a really good flow. I think that's like a really interesting flow what you did here. I also like when like being able to try this out and have all of the applications kind of like pile in, I think is a really strong signifier to kind of show kind of like what exactly is happening. And then, especially getting this on the hand, I really want to like get this and just like throw this on my hand right now and just play with it because I think that doing hand UI kind of like this is really
Yeah.
fun and really tough from like an ergonomics perspective, but also from like a layout perspective. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, I think the what I would like to like understand is like from a getting this on once you get past like once you start prototyping this for your hand, like how this evolves, like how these hit areas will evolve because like they can be kind of trying. But like I think that like this is actually a very very smart way of you breaking apart essentially like this whole bottom bar shoving on your wrist and then you being able to bring it down quite quickly. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think the thing that I would start figuring out like when you're like as you work on this is like how do these feel like ergonomically, right? Like these buttons placing stuff like that, you raising your hand all the time. I would really like when you're done with this, I just want to be able to talk with you and understand, like what were the challenges you raised. I mean, there's not many like
So
I think go on.
Yeah, so basically there are two ways to access this dial. One is to directly tap on the dial, which is like with the other hand, or there is another settings that I'm going to add, which is the collider thing. Like if you raise your hand and see it like a watch, so based on the collider hit, it will be showing up. You can turn this off based on user's preference. So it depends. So if you want it to always visible, if you just raise your hand, it will be visible, or you don't want that to be intruding the user space, only you need it to see it when you need, so you can just tap on the button. So these two ways you can access this watch.
Awesome.
Unfortunately, I don't have a HMD at the moment, so I couldn't record. So I hope I'll get some help when recording it. I'm planning to make it in a hand only. I saw your
Okay.
video, so working on that.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, let me know if you have any quick questions, I can help you out with this. You've thought of a lot of really good stuff here. You having like ergonomically, this wrist thing is really sweet. It's pointing towards the camera. That could be tricky, but I think it's really awesome. I would just like, tweak and figure out. I think the buttons are going to be the hardest thing for you to work on,
Mhm.
but I think that all together, your entire concept makes a lot of sense. And I think it's just going to be the fine tuning of the details because, like, you know, the thing that is impressive is that when I look at this, I know exactly what to do, right? I don't have to
Mm.
guess. I don't have to do anything like that. Like this bottom bar, I'm interested to see what the relationship you have with bottom bars here, because like at the moment, it's like this little thing that I'm assuming this signifies something like what's open, correct?
Yes, yes, recent step.
So basically, could I have multiple things in there as at once?
Yes, so my next steps is to have many other apps open. So basically, it's like a story. Like you play a music and you engage in other apps and activities like cooking something or fishing somewhere in some place. So still the background things are still happening. And the recent steps is like it is visible when you sing. So I'll make them and present you.
Well, awesome work, bud. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. I have one more doubt. So if I'm submitting, since I'm making in busy, I don't have an option to add audios in there. So can I add audios in the video alone when I'm
Sure, you
submitting?
can do that. Sure. Yeah,
Yes,
you can do
thank you.
that. Yeah. And our audio feature will come out in the next couple weeks. So
Awesome. Like, oh,
it's
great.
yeah, it's gonna be good. Great work. Wow, there's a lot of awesome stuff there. Hey. So can you tell us a little bit about this project?
Sure. It's a world building experience where you basically pick and place some objects like trees, houses on top of a floating platform, which is inside a snow globe, a virtual snow globe. So the second part was where you saw the menu, which you can drag it. This is for adjusting the sun, day, night, afternoon. And then this is for switching between real and virtual worlds. Essentially, instead of switching it without a blending factor, I have just tried to add a blending part so that goes smoothly. Yeah, and there's also a play with lights, and with the other finger, you can essentially grab any light and then adjust the lights, the color. And yeah, this is basically how you select the object which is to be placed on the floating island, and then changing the size, adjusting the sun, basically,
Some
making it sort of like your own tiny snow globe.
This is awesome. Well, you've done a lot of impressive hard work here. I can definitely tell that. I think
Thanks.
what's interesting to me is that, well, you brought in a whole new set of tools here that are like intuitive, um, and like very reactionary. Like you're clearly very talented at understanding how to use hand controls and gestures to do things. Um, I think
That's
that
good.
like, yeah, like you should be very proud of your work here. There's a couple things that like
Thank you.
I would. The hard thing is that like, well, first of all, there's so much stuff here that like I want to dive into, like like this little tray of objects, right?
Yeah.
Like that stuff right there is
So
just super sick.
thanks. Underneath that, there's a trash can where you can just drop. So the red part underneath, it's a trash can. I should have actually made the video a bit more zoomed in, where you can basically, if you don't want that object, you can just pick it off and then drag it underneath, so it goes to the trash. And
Sure.
you can switch between different islands. You have different effects, like you can have birds flying around as particles, and or wind. That's still a work happening as of now. Hopefully, I'll be able to finish it before submission.
Yeah, this is when I'm like looking at all this stuff. I'm like, okay, what was he doing there? What was like, so like the thing that's interesting here as well is that I think like the only thing that really wasn't like when I saw this, like this is cool. Like, how would I know how to get like what this would
Yeah,
what that is, right?
yeah,
Like once like if I had like honestly like for the most part like everything here, I wouldn't
mm,
say perfect, but everything is pretty damn good. It's just about reinforcing these key, affordances that you tried to craft here, right? Like everything
yeah,
is
yeah.
like everything is click and play and stuff. Is like, so how do you hint people into using things? I think like the sundial is pretty self-explanatory, right? And it's
Yeah.
also interesting that you're playing like a lot of this space is like this is specifically locked to this curve, which is really cool
Mm,
versus other things, which is like you're pulling out like relatively from there versus like you're pinching and pulling. Like there's a lot of like
yeah.
really cool things and like seeing them all to come together. I mean, like you have here where it basically tells you scale. The question here is I have is like when would like how would I know is like when I put my fingers together, and a like text signifier pops up. Is that basically what it is?
Uh, so the onboarding part that's still under work. I'm trying to think of something that one that does not always guide you, so that you don't have to keep going back. Like you can just, if you need to look up something, you can just look up instantly. So essentially, it's under work right now, and I also have an idea of something that moves around, which guides you through, like maybe like a moving a tiny flying cube bird or something else that just floats around, guides you through the entire system, and then something like that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then real quick before I let you go, what is this right here? Am I able to take
Yeah.
what is this?
So, oh, okay. I kind of cropped the video because what comes after that is that it's for placing a portal on your wall. And once you
Hmm.
drag this particular sphere or the globe into that portal, you would be able to see this tiny little world on your wall, like a big screen. So what
Oh,
that
cool.
part of your wall becomes an entire showcase area, something like
So there's a very clever idea. I've wanted to build at Bezzy for a while, but we don't have the engineering or like the time.
that.
And
Mhm.
they call it, a lot of people have been playing with this at Meta and Apple, is this concept of what they call what we call the dollhouse, which is
Okay.
basically you have a dollhouse that you're building here, and then you can see
Mhm.
it live in front of you, and that's what I feel like you've done here, which is kind of
Yeah. So
like it's the dollhouse.
okay, okay. I see.
It's
It
very
basically
clever.
turns that entire wall into a screen to view your creation, something like that.
Yeah, but then I can also add stuff in my creation here, and it would evolve on that screen, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think like the biggest thing I would say is like figure out how to do that onboarding really well, And then
Yeah,
like
yeah, that's true.
that's like I know it's hard. And then like I would even play with like maybe have this like be tilted towards you so you know exactly what's happening. It's like the same old ergonomics,
Okay.
but like for the most part, like this is you've done a really fantastic job, and I'm super juiced as a goose to see where this goes.
Thanks, Daniel.
Thank
The
you.
dragging and grabbing and dragging part of the menu was inspired from Beyblade. Where you just
Okay.
drag something and leave it, it just activates something. Yeah.
Oh,
So I
this is
thought maybe I could apply something like that.
well, you've done some awesome work.
Thanks, Daniel.
Yeah, take care. Go crazy. Awesome. Hello, can you tell us a little bit about your project?
Yeah, so I wanted to create something that would be easy for me to test on my phone. So that's how I came up with this idea. And I also asked ChatGPT to give me some ideas. And yeah, for the diegetic design, I wanted to create this signboard. So like if I had to place my phone there, like my camera there, there I can see the rules. But it was kind of difficult for me to place the signboard there. So I figured maybe the signboard could come to me, something like that. I'm also thinking of adding a map to give some hints. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Well, this looks like fun. So first of all, like awesome job having it contort to you. This is definitely sweet. I like, you know, the rules are pretty well established here. I like the go crazy as the final rules. Um, I think that's cute. And also like the way that things come in and out is definitely interesting. Your room with like your work with occlusion is technically very sweet. Yeah, I think you know offering some signifiers to it would definitely help. Playing with some audio
Yeah.
would definitely help. Um, and you know, because like, but this is a game kind of like trying to find things, right? So like giving them hints could be definitely interesting. I would be interested to see how you can do it without destroying like the point of the game, right? But like
Yeah. Yeah.
by doing that, I think that it would be that is very cool.
Yeah. Okay.
And then maybe I would even add a little bit of signifiers to make sure that like I understand like if I'm using this on headset, like it doesn't have to be in headset, but like you know if I'm in headset, like how do I if I hover over something like what reinforces that signifier? But this is great work.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hello, 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 hello. This app is an audio visualizer that takes speech and instrument sounds to create a visualization of different tones that are either human produced or sound instrument produced. The idea is to allow the user to kind of like whistle or almost sing a note and then loop it back and compose music with the use of their voice. Because usually, when people who are into music they mm, they sing to each other, saying, "Oh, this reminds me of this tone, ta ta ta," or like para para pam. And in my mind, visualizing these sounds and allowing the user to be an orchestra just by using their own voice and alternating the voice input with a actual instrument sounds fun. I'm not sure if I'm able to complete the project fully, but let's see. And I'm curious to hear your feedback. That's a prototype that I'm working on right now. As you may see, not many things work, but I like it. And I'm curious to hear what you think about it. Thank you.
Awesome, Leo. Um, I enjoyed. It's nice that you actually like you talked through it exactly because it saves us time here. So I think the idea of being able to use your mic to like your voice and stuff like that to compose music, have it loop, visually paint things in front of you is a really cool idea. I think that with the whole time when you were talking a little bit, I was like, like the hard thing is like understanding, what red is, what blue, what purple is. But a lot of the time I was stuck right here looking at the detected note to understand exactly, okay, what is being done. And I would love to see that, like this visualization's cool. I would like to have you reinforce that natively within the same scene, so you can basically like once I like switch the pitch of my voice, I can actually see exactly what note I'm hitting. I'm definitely interested to hear, like, interested to see how I could like how this would feel like when I'm pitching, like when I'm changing pitch and looping. Another thing that'll be interesting to me is that, like, if I can play it back, is it playing back my voice or is it playing back the note itself? So if I sing a G, is it going to be me singing a G, or is it simply like a tone of G, right? The note of G. So that way, like, it's not me recording my voice for listen to my voice. It's me recording my voice. Like, I could sing something and then it would actually compose. I think that reinforcing those things um, would be really cool. And I think it's like a really interesting idea. I think clear visualizations of what's happening, being able like clear visualizations of the record loop, how those things are added together, and then just have those ergonomically be in the same space so I can like see exactly what's happening. Hopefully that was helpful. I think like again, it's a really cool concept. I love it. I'm interested to see because like a lot of the UI is being done in this browser, but I would like to see it be done here. Instruments. Oh, so right here. See, it's hard for me to see. Right. Yeah, I think it's interesting. Like instruments, piano A. I would love to hear if I sing a song and then have it be basically, I'm like, I want this to be piano, and I sing la da 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 da, da, and then like it just records as piano, and then I can basically bring in other. I can then change that from piano to violin to saxophone to guitar, whatever. And I think that would be really cool. Awesome work. Regardless, if you get it done in time, you should still like share it in the channel, and we could still go over it because I think it's something that I would like. I think it's a really cool concept. Oh, awesome. Well, I'm juiced as a goose, dude. Thank you.
No audio on this one, by the way.
Oh, okay. Oh, hey, Josh. How are you? Awesome. Well, first of all, I met Josh at AWE. Really awesome to see you, bud. Can you tell us a little bit about this project?
Sure. So, and you can hear me, right? We're all good
Yeah,
on
I can hear
audio.
you. I can hear you.
Cool. So basically, I'm on a mission to make waterbending real, kind of like from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Um, and this might seem early, but that's only because it is early. Um, uh, but keep in mind that this is built in native Vision OS using Xcode and Reality Composer Pro, which is Apple's 3D design tool. So I made this water shader, and also there's not many tools for custom gestures, so I'll be doing those calculations myself from like joint positions and stuff like that. So a little background on me: I'm a software engineer and mostly did UI development. Was originally in 2D on the web, but I've also done some 2D UI for an XR tool as well. For this, I wanted to go fully 3D with minimal 2D to really break out of my shell. The current affordances that this water globe has is changing the water flow left, right, up, and down. Additionally, you can change the speed of the water based on how fast you flick. So as soon as you pinch, I calculate the delta of the x and the y, and I immediately add that to the speed of the water, which gives it a very like snappy feel. And yeah, Melissa, it changes the shader itself using like parameters in the shader. So yeah, the other affordance is making the water ball appear, which is soon going to be controlled by a gesture. I kind of like fake the gesture at the beginning to kind of give you the idea of what I want for the gesture to be to make the water appear, and to like go back down would be like putting your hands back together. You may have noticed that there's no signifiers, and my plans for signifiers is 3D models of a hand to show what the gestures are going to be. Also, some water sounds to show that a gesture has started. The other affordances that I'm wanting to make are to move the water around the room and also to change the shape. Although this will be somewhat limited until I can get a better grasp on the lower level Metal API shaders right now on Apple Vision Pro. So I'm using the node-based shader in Reality Composer Pro right now. But of course, you are very limited by doing that. Yeah, so I also want to have different sounds based on the speed of how fast the water's flowing. And I have those sounds, I just haven't hooked them up yet. Yeah. I have some other things like why I chose to do native Vision OS and not Unity or WebXR. I did a lot of exploration at the beginning to see where I'd want to go, and why I didn't want to do Unity is I just wanted more control, kind of ironically, even though it's a bit more limited in a way, because I'd be able to use the actual shaders that are on Vision Pro instead of using Unity shaders that then get translated to Vision Pro, and there's only so many things they support right now, and it's an alpha. Like the Unity support for Vision Pro is an alpha, and it costs $2,000 a year. So didn't want to exactly do that because I've spent quite a bit already getting this made. Yeah, and why and then there's also WebXR, which I decided not to do because I wanted the real user hands in the app, and you can't do that with WebXR. Okay.
No, this is
That's
great. I
it.
mean, there's not much to critique because I think that you've kind of done it yourself, but I think that this is definitely really, really cool. I think that I'm excited to see where you go from it. Like reinforcing those signifiers and those affordances would definitely be cool. Okay. Yeah, awesome, dude. I don't have to say. I'm excited to see what happens with how I think the minimal UI is definitely something that is awesome.
Yeah, you may notice that piece of UI in the back, and they do require you to not immediately start in an immersive space when you begin the
Sure.
app, or they suggest it, which I think that means you have to do it. So I plan on like hiding that a little bit, and so it kind of goes away once you're inside the app. Um, and yeah, it was great to meet you. I was at AWE this week, so didn't have super a lot of time to work on this, but I did want to get something out for the design critique. So thank you guys.
Yeah, this is great, dude. Yeah, awesome work. I'm excited to see where it goes. Okay, let me
Thank you.
see.
Hi,
Hey,
can you hear me?
I can.
Hello, and welcome to my
Thanks.
modular binocular prototype. You will be asked to find a shoe store in this miniature city using your hands as zooming lenses. You can use 3 lens stages, the single-headed monocular for a quick look, or 2-handed binoculars for a more comfortable zoomed area. As for now, the transitions need to be refined, but the idea is to make the zoom effect feel more natural and the binoculars more credible. If you wear them close enough to your eyes, it snaps on your head so you can relieve arm tension while you look around. To remove them, simply wear them further from your eyes. This first iteration was all about having a functional prototype to build upon, with a clean zoom effect without quality loss, and a robust gesture tracking avoiding false positives. On the next steps, I will integrate a simple onboarding with an avatar showcasing the binocular gestures and refine transition from lens stages. That's it for now. Thanks for your time.
So this is okay. So Julien, this is
Hello,
very
and
very.
welcome to my module.
Oh God, sorry. I thought you were talking.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about this project?
Yeah, of course. With the theme being diegetic, I kind of thought of something that would be natural. And since I worked a lot in for museum experiences, I thought that I could like make a tool that can be used in many situations that can let people explore in their own way. So the idea is to have a simple gesture to, well, just like if you hold binoculars, to have a kind of zoom. And actually it echoes a bit with the dollhouse you were talking about and Ben's work. So I think it's a tool that can be integrated in many different other situations. And so yeah, basically I use the simple assets from the Unity as a store, and the idea is to have a bit of onboarding on the next step, to maybe having an avatar asking the user to like find what's written in like on buildings, or try to, like a detective, look on the city.
This is awesome.
So I try to thank you.
No,
I tried a bit of vignette effect to make people more focused on what they are looking at. Actually, there are 3 different stages with monocular with one hand for simple and quick zoom. You have the 2-handed version to make it like more comfortable with a bigger zooming area, and when you put it on your head, it's like enables you to relieve arm tension, so you can get rid of the gesture.
No, this is very very clever. Yeah, I mean, I think the only I think it's actually it's a very brilliant idea. Someone just asked internally, like on the chat, like, can it work in the real world as well? I'm like, yeah, for sure, this probably could.
Actually, I tried it first, but there are different approaches to this zoom kind of effect. First one is like use the rendered scene and play with the UV to kind of distort the image. That will work, I think, on the pass-through stream, but this loses quality, so maybe it's not that good. And instead, I used actually a stencil mask and 2 different versions of the of the 3D object. And on the one that is being seen through the lenses, I actually kind of project the vertices toward the user.
Oh, this is interesting. So what is this built on?
It's on Unity.
Okay. This is this is all so there are two scenes here, but this is like a stencil, essentially.
Yeah.
Sorry, I like to
Exactly.
understand technically very, very clever. So yeah, I really do love the vignette. I would imagine this is only recording one eye. Like, is it just vignetting on one?
No, it's actually better on the headset, but yeah, in the video it's less appealing.
Sure. I mean, I think the same critique I'm going to give like everyone else did. It was basic, like we've had time and time again, is just like, how do you signify people what to do? But for the most part, you've added so many like interesting things that you don't really even need to a certain extent. Like, besides doing the initial cup, right? Like, a lot of this would just be fun to play with. And then, like, as soon as you put it on your head, I don't think you need to even tell them, you know. The question is that go on?
Sorry, that was the idea. Actually, it's to have something very natural where you can ask people to like use their hands as binoculars, but a lot of people will do different kind of gestures, and the challenge was to make them all be right, whatever they try to do. So maybe people will like touch the thumb tip and the index tip. Others will go with two hands at first. So I tried something a bit modular, so everyone can have the feature working.
Well,
And it's designed to be simple to like to see, to start, and then you can play around with it, being less realistic but more fun to play with.
This is awesome. Well, good work, dude. I mean, I'm excited to see where this goes, and like if you're gonna, so like in the video you said it's kind of like, is this kind of like it's kind of like Where's Waldo? Like, can you find this store?
Yeah,
Is that-
exactly.
yeah,
That
I
was
like
my
to, I like to see how you could try to like add some little signifiers and stuff like that to the world to basically kind of hint towards that, right?
yeah, make it more living, so it has
Yeah.
more sense to zoom.
All you guys are just so talented. Congratulations. This is a really good idea. I'm excited to see when it gets like when it gets further, but I'm already pretty wowed by this. So this is awesome.
Thank you very much.
Oh, that's very clever. Awesome. This is very, very cool. Hand UI is always fun. Will you tell Lair, will you tell us a little bit about this? Your project?
Sure. So I try to make a kind of smart watch with hands and the XR. It was built in Unity. So in the first time that the user look at the left hand, you will see in the menu saying that they have to turn the hand to see the watch, and when they turn it, they're gonna see the icons that they can select. So to select it, as you see in the video, you have to count the fingers, After count it, you only have to raise your thumb. So the icon gonna be select, and you turn again with your palm facing up to show the selected app. In the last example, I put the interaction of the music app, but I'll improve for all and make it for all. But basically is to manipulate let's say, the main part of my application with the moody pinch. For example, in the music app, if I want to preview the music, I'm gonna index, make the pinch with index. If I want to pause or play, I'm gonna pinch with the middle. And if I want to the next music, I'm gonna pinch with the ring. For the other applications, I did not make these inputs yet, but I pretend to do this. For example, for the first one, that is the kind of social media or gallery app, I would like to send messages, to share the information. For the buying app, the shopping app, I added a 3D model to see that it's possible to interact with this model and to make things like that. Buy something and it's gonna appear in front of you, or change the product that you have in the front of your hand. And so basically it's this kind of input. You have the smartwatch and you have the result app that you selected.
Awesome. No, this is a really cool idea. I mean, this is, as I said before, hand UI is notoriously difficult, but I think you did a pretty good job here. I like, you have a lot of different, like, if I would put this on right now, I think I would try to figure out exactly what's happening, but I would eventually get it. I think that if I have access to all 5 fingers, I guess there's 4 fingers here, with the selection being the thumb. Yeah, I mean, I would probably, like, the only thing that I would say is that, like, a lot of this is just going to require either you to have very specific signifiers that kind of hint people of what to do initially. And then you also kind of need to reinforce the concept of the thumb gesture, like the foundational structure of what you're doing with, like, with the foundational structure of what, sorry, my cat was chewing on my shit. What, like, with the whole layout of your fingers being the selection and switching over to, like, your palm makes a lot of sense. I just see, like, the reinforcement of those, I think, would be the challenge, but I think you can definitely do it. How did this, when you put this on, how did this feel ergonomically?
Well, it feels very good, but
Hmm.
as Christian said, I think that I can make more option gestures, but I have to think about it. I was thinking to input some kind of gaze. For example, if the user look at the icon, they're gonna be in the rover mode, and if he pinch it, he's gonna be selected. But it's very ergonomic.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, just fleshing those out and seeing how you take those and, like, how intuitive. I'm excited to get the SDK, sorry, the APK. I'm excited to get the APK and start playing with this to see how it feels, because this is definitely really, really cool. Yeah, I'm interested. Like, so did you try any, when you were doing this? Did you try any other ways of selection, or did you just say, I'm going to do fingers and that's it?
No, I just asked the fingers. I have
Okay.
a Quest 2, so I cannot try the gaze one, but I'll think about to input it in the future, to put it in the future.
So, like, another thing right here is that this, I think the thing that's tough about this thing right here is that this finger is dominated by this stupid thing, right? So, like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and so basically a lot of it is kind of like, this finger is pretty much not useful. And it's basically you're relying on these 3 fingers. Otherwise, if you do this, you lose control of your project, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's definitely tough. I think, yeah, I'm super excited to see um how this is fleshed out. But like, yeah, I mean, it's hard to critique because I think that I would like a lot of this is like visually, it's stunning. A lot of it's just going to be me figuring out how this works, like how it feels in the hand. But you clearly have really good aesthetic style. You clearly thought through like the structure of how this works. I think the only thing I would try to figure out is like, how do you get people to understand this, like reduce the barrier to entry. But I think that like from a hand UI perspective, this is just very, very clever and very pretty.
Thank you.
Yeah. Melissa says, I mentioned, mentioned Luke, but I think you can do this already. You can try using the headset gaze rather than eye tracking. Should be able to do that with Quest 2. Yeah, you should be able to use, like, you could essentially like raycast your head position to objects. That means like your hit area is going to have to probably be pretty big. And I think that's the hard part with these is that if I direct touch these or if I gazed on them, like the area would have to be actually like these buttons would have to be huge. I think the minimal is like on Vision Pro, I think they said minimum of like 60, 66, or 66 millimeters. I think I think Quest or Meta's documentation says around 44 to 60. So I think that like gaze is like getting that ray cast would be really hard. It's just about I think you can just it's just about reinforcing these fingers. Like I'm sure there's some kind of signifier that can like reinforce those, but cool. Thank you, Lair.
Okay. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, all of you who stayed through the whole thing. Thank you for those who've had to bounce and will watch this later. It's I don't say this because I don't say this because I feel like I need to. I legitimately think that there's some amazing like awe-inspiring work that I've been able to see from you guys, and I really do appreciate your spirit. And there's so many amazing imaginative things that that you guys have shown me today and the other day that kind of reinforces my faith in this medium. So thank you so much. You guys are all talented. Love you very much. And I'm excited to see how everything comes out. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up. I'm going to try to, after I'm done unpacking, I'm probably going to try to do a hangout and work once a week. If that's interesting to you guys, let me know. So thank you.